What if I told you RuneScape is a rhythm game? Some of you might think that I've gone crazy and have no idea what I'm talking about. But some of you are probably going, yeah, of course it is. You see, from the very beginning, RuneScape has run on a tick or cycle system. Compared to other games, where you can have as many inputs as you'd like at any given moment, RuneScape runs on a virtual clock that only lets you act once every 0.6 seconds, or if you'd prefer, 100 times a minute. Walking, skilling, using prayers, making attacks, whatever you click, it'll only resolve at the start of the next tick. For most of RuneScape's history, players never really thought that much about it. They'd just play the game casually, notice the occasional starting lag when doing stuff here and there, and not think twice about it. But what if you didn't ignore it? In fact, what if you were hyper aware of it? What if you treated RuneScape as a 100 beats per minute rhythm game? Wouldn't this possibly be the most efficient way to play the game? Well, using game ticks to your advantage isn't exactly a new phenomenon. In fact, people have done it for over a decade. You probably at least know about prayer flicking. If you turn the right protection prayer on immediately before the next tick starts, it'll nullify the attack, and then you can turn it off again before it uses any prayer points. Rinse and repeat, and you've got full protection without ever losing any points. If your timing is good enough, you can even use it for more costly prayers like Piety, giving you some very good buffs for basically free. We haven't even got into the skills yet, but doesn't that sound a little broken? I mean, if this method was advertised as how to have infinite prayer points, real, working, you'd say it was basically bug abuse, and in a way, you'd be right. In 2020, old-school developer Mod Ash labeled tick manipulation as a glitch, but gave it a pass, saying Jagex wasn't looking to fix it or punish people for using it. Given the precision needed to do it right, it basically pushed up the skill ceiling for the game, which wasn't something Jagex wanted to undo. Admittedly, RS3 decided to tackle the issue by multiplying your prayer points by 10, meaning you were almost surely going to drain some, even if you had the fastest fingers in the West. But that's beside the point. The discovery of ticks is easily one of the most important things to happen in RuneScape's long history. Mastering the art of the tick is how most high-score toppers manage to secure their place. In all honesty, widespread knowledge of tick manipulation is probably the leading cause for the game turning from a dumb fun time waster that we devoted our childhoods to into the no XP waste efficiency escape that dominates both RS3 and old school. So how did we get here? Well, the further back you go, the less you'll find about the use of ticks. As I've said, it's been a fundamental part of the game from the beginning, and some people definitely stumbled onto ways to make the most of them during the game's golden years. For example, drinking a potion at the same time you place the trap to cancel the long animation of setting it up, but no one really knew what ticks were. The first time Jagex even referred to this system was April 2009, when Andrew Gower brought it up while explaining how a recent prayer update had caused a slight delay in them being activated. Funnily enough, the RuneScape wiki editors at the time called this useless information to the general players. Talk about aging like milk. If you really want to dig into the history of ticks, you can't just look for ticks and call it a day. Instead, people first encountered tick manipulation under a different name, one that a few veterans here might remember. You have to look up old posts on the official and fansite forums about a very intense training method: power leveling. If you've watched a few of my videos already, you've probably noticed a trend with some of RuneScape's most famous faces. None of them were particularly exceptional. They just happened to be doing the right thing in the right place at the right time. Which brings us to the star of today's show, Zarfot. From the very beginning, Zarfot was the kind of player who enjoyed the grindy style of RuneScape's gameplay. If you don't believe me, he first started playing in 2006 and achieved 99 rune crafting in December of the same year. Yeah, he's that kind of guy. But Zarfot wasn't an elitist who wanted to keep tricks to himself. He wanted other people to enjoy the grind as much as he did. So after hitting 99 in one of the most infamous skills in the game, he went on to write a guide for it in early 2007. Shortly after, he knocked out efficiency guides for both Thieving and Slayer. Now, it'd be a bit weird for his guides to go viral, given he was still a relatively new face that no one knew about. So they didn't. They were publicly available on the forums, but so were dozens of other guides. Sure, some people saw his methods and tried them out, and maybe even spread them a little around, but they certainly weren't commonly adopted by the greater community. Whether that was because they drowned in a red sea of other guides, or they were a little too intensive for the average teenager playing the game at this time. But that was fine. Zarfot wasn't in it for the fame, he just genuinely wanted to help others. When he started merching in July of 2008, and yes, he wrote a guide for this as well, he decided to try out a different avenue for posting his hints and tips. This new sprangled video hosting site called Google Videos. Nah, just kidding, it was YouTube. So how did the videos fare on a site far more popular than the RuneScape forums? Oh, he was raking it in. Hundreds of views within the first few weeks. That might not sound like a lot these days, but in 2008, for a brand new channel, that was amazing growth. People were searching YouTube for guides on how to level up faster, and when they saw Zarfot's collection of promising top-tier XP rates, these were the ones they watched and imitated.
Are you okay, man?
I'm more than okay. By perfectly timing my inputs, I'm able to catch fish once every 3 ticks instead of every 5. This 67% XP increase is accompanied by additional experience and other skills. In this moment, I am euphoric.
Oh. Well, it sounds like you've got a nice deal there. Kind of like the new NordVPN bundle deal they've just released.
What, the VPN company?
Oh, they are much more than that, my sweaty friend. While everyone knows about the world-leading VPN services, letting you bypass geolock content with the fastest VPN speeds on the planet, now's your chance to snag access to their high-end password manager and terabyte cloud storage for rock-bottom prices. Seriously, they're practically giving it away. Kind of like how you're giving yourself carpal tunnel.
Carpal what now?
The thing I like about casual fishing is it's just one click and you're done. And that's basically how NordVPN works. No messing around, just enable it with one click or set it to do that automatically for a 0-click protection. So if you want to live the easy life like me, then cruise on over to nordvpn.com/rswill to get your exclusive deal now. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, so you've got nothing to lose. Make sure not to miss it with Will Miss It.
Oh, here comes the force log timer.
How long was he doing that for?
With his merging proceeds, Zarfot went all in on prayer. Not for 99, oh no, he already had that. This was to make a name for himself. Starting in January 2009, by the end of the month, he had gone from rank 840 to rank 2, lagging behind rank 1 by only a few million XP, a gap he had no trouble bridging and overcoming, sitting comfortably at rank 1 prayer on February 6th, with a lead of 11 million XP. A month later, on March 4th, 2009, he increased that lead to 100 million XP. 4 days later, he cemented his place on the high scores, hitting the experience cap of 200 million XP, locking him in as rank 1 prayer forever. Now, players had hit 200 million XP before, in quite a few skills actually, but no one had done it for prayer, despite it being released a whole 8 years ago in January 2001. And not only had someone finally done it, but they'd done it at lightning speeds. This wasn't a slow crawl over the past 8 years. This was someone going from just past 99 to 200 million in the span of a couple months. Who was this guy? The massive jump in experience put Zarfot on the first page for the overall high scores, placing his name amongst RuneScape's top players of all time. And his insane XP rates hadn't gone unnoticed on fansite trackers, with him breaking multiple XP records over his arduous 2 months of praying. Now everyone wanted to know who he was. How did he do it? What were the secrets? Wait, has he shown them off already? Everyone took to YouTube in search of answers. Wasting no time, they went and watched all of Zarfot's videos. His view count soared, and his overlooked forum guides also received a burst of new attention. People were making sure to save copies just in case they got removed for some reason, and plenty of players began to imitate all of Zarfot's techniques in an attempt to reach the same heights that he had. I'm sure you can guess where we're going with all of this. I mean, I didn't just randomly spend the entire start of the video talking about ticks for no reason. It's not April Fool's, I'm not trying to mislead you today. So yes, the trick was the RuneScape tick system. At this point, when players were swarming to find out Zarfot's secrets, Andrew Gower had gone to the forums to explain the internal clock of the game. Smart players were able to put 2 and 2 together, with both Zarfot and Andrew's information. Zarfot was performing multiple actions in a single tick. By precisely timing your action, you could ensure you were getting XP as often as possible, rather than being bogged down by the occasional delay that ticks would cause when you played casually. Maybe you could even say he was manipulating the tick system. Okay, so to clarify, no one actually called it tick manipulation at this point. While the existence of game ticks was becoming public knowledge, few people were connecting the dots between Zarfot's training methods and the tick system. The RuneScape wiki, yes, the same wiki that said knowledge of ticks was useless, listed a variety of actions and their lengths in ticks, without any editors considering how Zarfot and his fans were bypassing these in their videos. Now, to be precise, Zarfot wasn't entirely responsible for discovering tick manipulation, or the tick system at all. There's no doubt plenty of other players who stumbled onto ways to use it accidentally, making their own discoveries that have since been lost to time. But Zarfot was absolutely the player who popularized it. RuneScape was a grindy game. It was accessible and pretty easy, but Zarfot had shown what truly skillful skilling actually looked like. More and more players started to incorporate his strategies into their own grinding, pushing those XP rates up higher than they otherwise would be. Most players didn't really understand how it worked, but they knew that it did work, and hey, that was good enough for them. I joked about the mantra of no XP waste near the start, but Zarfot really did subscribe to it, just like how you should subscribe to the Will Miss It channel to catch future high-quality uploads. In September 2009, he graciously offered his time for an interview on the website Salmoneus, while explicitly stating that he was training mining at the same time. He had never tried God of War's dungeon, barely touched PvP, and hadn't tried any of the recently released minigames. Back in the golden and social era, everyone seemed to play RuneScape for fun, and gaining experience was a casual afterthought. Well, everyone except Efficiency King Zarfot, who had an efficient mentality that wouldn't look out of place in 2022. In fact, fame came as an active detriment to Zarfot, as while he enjoyed helping other people, he didn't like being pestered because of it. In late 2009, he used his YouTube channel to explain that he now played with both his public and private chat set to friends, due to the sheer amount of people who weren't treating him like a normal person and seeing him as an emotionless font of information for godlike scaping tips. Zarfot never slowed down, however. 200 million prayer was only the beginning, not the end. In late February 2010, Zarfot peaked at rank 3 on the overall high scores under the name What's Real Life, placing just below Oziwat and the rank 1 player Gertjors. From the time he first arrived on the front page in March 2009 to the moment he scored bronze just below Oziwat, Zarfot had gained a total of 814 million XP. To put it in perspective, during this same time frame, Oziwat had gained 703 million, and Gertjors had gained 483 million. Zarfot was gaining XP faster than both of them, almost twice as fast as Gertjors. That's the difference that his tick mastery was making against the literal best players in the game. However, Zarfot would never go all the way to rank 1 and carve his name into history in Gertjors' spot. In June 2010, Zarfot just up and quit, finding his breaking point with the release of Ancient Effigies. Jagex's shift towards social skilling, encouraging players to chat and work together rather than compete for resources, made him think the game was becoming too easy, especially with Jagex's new interest in more AFK, or Ligma, training methods as a part of social skilling. That's right, after almost 2 years of non-stop, extremely intense gameplay, he just said too easy and up and left for greener pastures. What a way to go. While the legend may have gone, his legacy only got stronger. His name was placed in the Urban Dictionary, used to refer to someone being efficient. Some of the best players in the game name-dropped him as an idol or admitted to him being the most efficient player of all time. The methods he devised in his guides were used for years to come, being more efficient than even some of the newer content that Jagex released. And even when better methods did come along, the ideas behind them remained and continued to be incorporated into the highest possible XP rates the game has to offer. I can only imagine what he'd think of methods such as Barbalore on OSRS. So when did the term tick manipulation actually come into fashion? Well, good question. While Andrew called them ticks in 2009, Jagex internally refers to them as server cycles, which is what they're called in the engine as well. Depending on who is writing the news post, you'll either see a disclaimer saying that we call them cycles but you know them as ticks, or they'll just cut out the middleman and call them ticks for player clarity. The earliest documented reference to tick manipulation specifically appears to be March 2016, but even here the Redditor using it treats it like a pre-existing common phrase. The RuneScape wiki didn't adopt the word until January 2017, at which point it became the go-to way to reference it, and the name that has stuck ever since. Sorry, original person who named it on what's probably a deleted forum post or something. We thank you in spirit. As with all legendary players, there's always a little bit of aftermath to address. After all, RuneScape is the Hotel California of video games. Zarfot briefly returned in April 2012, but not to train, instead to urge players to boycott the game after the release of the Squeal of Fortune, being deeply slighted by the concept of buyable XP. Given the weight behind his name, the post he made was considered pretty important by the players. And hey, that's how you know Zarfot is a true scaper through and through. Because behind the grinding and efficiency, there's one thing that every RuneScape player loves. And that's rioting and complaining about the game. Thank you all so much for watching this brief look into tick manipulation and the efficiency king who popularized it. I know this was more of a Zarfot than a tick manipulation video, but that's why the story was. After all, I'm a documentarian, not a guide maker. There's plenty of videos out there if you're interested in how to actually engage in tick manipulation. Just make sure to train responsibly, okay? If there's one lesson you can learn from Zarfot, it's that you don't need to soil yourself while going for rank 1 efficiency experience in the game. That's all folks, until next time, my name is Will Missit and I'll see you all later.